Here, watch your stuff going up. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Kogan, thanks for being here. Have a good night. Are you content with your mic height? You got all this?
I can fix it myself. I can fix it.
You are so replaced, my friend Dan. Welcome aboard.
Thanks. So my hidden talent is the ability to remember very strange and random things from my childhood. I think when I was about 6 years old in 1986, my father bought an Oldsmobile 98. And this was this big, ugly brown car. And it was apparently a luxury car because it came with a very fancy audio system. And they might still do this, but it came with the cassette tape. And it was the Oldsmobile tape because it was supposed to demonstrate the quality of the audio system. And it was this compilation of very random songs. And one of those songs was this really strange and kind of bad, but in a really good way, jazz fusion song from the late 70s by a group called The Weather Report, called Birdland. You might know it. It goes... Anyway. So, every once in a while, I'll remember things like this. And, you know, I'm that guy who walks down the street and was constantly free associating and will suddenly smile and be like, ah. Yeah, that was fun. I remember doing that 20 years ago. And so, you know, just recently I thought of this song and I thought, hey, I've got a computer, I've got iTunes, I'm gonna get this song. And so I download it and I play it again, and I play it over and over again to the point where I'm dancing in my bedroom to it. And then I perform it for my wife. She's very amused by this. But that's just one thing, that's not the end of this. Another thing that I remembered from my childhood was I used to listen to records. I used to have a record player. And one of the records that I would listen to was, there was a performer from many years ago by the name of Danny Kaye. And he performed Grimm's Fairy Tales on this record. And every once in a while, I'll remember this one tale in particular, the tale of Clever Gretel. And I can recite it back and forth from the start to the finish using the accents and the different inflections. And I didn't remember that I could do this until one day I was driving in my car just a few months ago with my wife. And we were flipping through the radio stations. And I guess we had passed out of the Philadelphia area because XPN wasn't coming in anymore.
Good save.
But, you know, none of the commercial stations are any good. And so we turn the radio off and she says, "Tell me a story." And I thought, oh yeah, I remember that. And it started off like, you know, am I really going to remember how to do this? But it worked. And it started like, you know, it happened that in the olden times there lived a girl named Gretel who liked nothing better than to eat. So she worked as a cook. But oftentimes she would have to explain what had happened to all of the food she'd eaten. In the old country, they tell this story of Clever Gretel. One day Gretel's master came to the kitchen and said, "Gretel, for dinner tonight we are to have a guest. And if you would be so kind as to cook for us 2 chickens, as nice as you can." And Gretel smiled and said, "Yeah, master, I will make them so good that they will melt in your mouth altogether." So Gretel prepared the chickens and put them over the fire to roast. And soon they were getting nicely brown. And Gretel smiled and said, "Master, the time for eating the chickens is almost now already. For in a few moments they will be cooked so much that they will not melt in your mouth altogether." And the master said, "Ah, the guest is late. I myself will go out and get him." And away he went out the door. And Gretel looked at the chickens and thought, well, soon they would be dry as in a bone, and that wouldn't be right for the chickens. And so she ate both of them, every single bit of them. And the master came and said, "The guest will be here in just 1 moment, and I myself will sharpen the knife for carving the chickens." And meanwhile, the guest knocked at the door, and Gretel hurried to open it, and she said, "Run away, run, run. Do you hear that sound?" And she could hear the sharpening of the knives. "My master is planning to cut off your ears. Both of them." Yes, pulled his cap over his precious ears and ran out into the street with his coattails streaming up behind him. And she ran into the kitchen and said, "Master, a fine kind of guest you invited here for dinner." And he said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, he just grabbed all his chickens that I cooked so nicely, worked so hard, he's now running away with them." And he rushed out the door and said, not both, just one." But the guest only ran faster because he thought the master only wanted one ear. Very nice.
Go to the microphone for a second. I would like you to go to the microphone when you're there. Could you just say, "This is CNN"?
This is CNN.
That's it. It was in my head for 5 minutes, so I had to have it. In honor of that story, I'm giving you the Chuppa's Choice Kitty Kitchen, a 4-piece kitchen utensils.